Let's get a divorce, Renee. The man's cold voice sounded from behind while Renee Everheart was in the middle of searing steaks. After hearing those words, she became seemingly numb to the hot oil splattering on her cheeks from the lightly sizzling pan. We're only husband and wife on paper. Now that 4 years have passed, it's time to end this, Stefan Hunt said with a cold, distant tone. Renee bit her lip anxiously. Looks like this day was inevitable after all. Her family was declared bankrupt 4 years ago. Her parents, unable to endure the stress of financial hardship, took their lives together, leaving young Renee to handle the mess alone. In the past, Renee's grandfather fought alongside Stefan's grandfather on the battlefield, and he even saved the latter's life once. In his dying moments, he voiced out to his old pal his concern for his granddaughter and left Renee under his care. And so, a marriage of convenience was arranged between Stefan and Renee to put the old man's concerns to rest. As time passed, Renee found herself falling in love with the man she married. She thought that as long as she played the role of a good wife, he would reciprocate her feelings one day. However, what transpired was the complete opposite of what she had hoped for. I'll give you $40 million and a penthouse at Long Beach. Here are the divorce papers. Sign them if you have no objections. Stefan then pushed a document towards Renee. His stern expression indicated that this was no more than another business transaction to him. Renee skimmed through the string of numbers. $40 million for 4 years, huh? The Hunts are still as wealthy as ever, she thought to herself. Do we have to? She put down the document and stared at her husband. The man she had loved for 4 years was drop-dead gorgeous, yet his beautiful face was always stern and distant. Yes, Stefan replied without a hint of hesitation. Renee's heart stung, but she was not one to drag things out. As her objections had fallen on deaf ears, she knew it was time for her to go. Whatever, I got $40 million for the years I've spent being his wife. This is more than worth it. All right. She picked up a pen and scribbled her signature on the papers decisively. Stefan was taken aback by her resoluteness. The Renee he knew was fragile and indecisive, and he had never seen this side of her. For some reason, this left a sour taste in his mouth. I'll let you know once this is processed. If it's possible, I'd like you to move out by tonight. The man said, brushing off the unpleasant feeling in his chest before leaving. It was painfully obvious that he didn't intend on discussing the matter over. On the very same night, the housekeeper immediately threw Renee's belongings out of the villa after receiving news of the divorce. It wasn't like she respected Renee back then, but now that they were officially separating, she became openly hostile. Serves you right, you gold-digging leech. It's about time they decided to kick you out. Renee had no choice but to crouch down and pick her scattered clothing up. The cold night breeze only served to rub salt in her wound. Just then, she heard the sound of a car rolling to a stop behind her. A tall, slender woman emerged from the vehicle. Ms. DeRosier, you're here. Welcome, welcome. The housekeeper, who was just yelling profanities at Renee, immediately jumped to the guest's assistance. However, Briar DeRosier didn't even bother to spare the housekeeper a glance. Be careful with my belongings. If you break even a single thing, you wouldn't be able to pay it back within a lifetime. Renee's entire body stiffened up. In mere seconds, the pieces fell into place in her mind. No wonder Stefan wanted me out by tonight. He had another woman he wanted to play house with. To think that I let that man affect my emotions. How I wish I could slap my past self. Briar approached Renee with a cocky smirk. So you're Renee Everheart, huh? What are you still doing here? Didn't Stefan kick you out? Get a move on. Have you no shame? Despite the provocation, Renee continued packing her belongings at her own pace. Hey, are you deaf? I'm talking to you here. Sorry, I didn't quite hear you. Renee met her gaze calmly. All I heard was some crazy bitch barking. How dare you call me a bitch? I didn't. Looks like you went ahead and got offended in the first place. Renee replied as she got up with her luggage. She tilted her head at Briar, who was blocking her path. Now, if you'll excuse me, nice little doggies should know how to stay out of the way. How dare you? Briar's face went bright red as she stomped her feet. Wasn't she known to be a living punch bag? When did she learn to talk back like that? The housekeeper quickly tried to calm Briar with flattery. Please calm down, Ms. DeRosier. You shouldn't upset yourself over a woman like that. You'll be the lady of the house soon. That insolent which is insignificant compared to you. We've also arranged a room for you per Master Hunt's orders. Let me lead the way. Briar looked visibly pleased by the flattery. She quickly lost the mood to argue with Renee and proceeded to follow the housekeeper into the villa. Renee was once again left alone outside. Mixed emotions welled up in her chest as she gazed upon the tall building. It felt ironic that she would return to the streets after 4 years of living here. Goodbye, Stefan. Renee took a deep breath and left. Later on, she moved into a small one-bedroom apartment downtown. She felt liberated as soon as she lost her title as the missus of the Hunt family. She was free to do anything she wanted, and she was no longer the caged bird she used to be. Renee took her phone out and dialed a number she blocked for 4 years. Boss, you finally remembered that I exist. It's been 4 years, you know. A delighted voice exclaimed on the other end of the line. This person was none other than Liam Osborne, also known as one of the 4 princes of Beach City. Despite his rebellious and unpredictable nature, he made himself sound like an underling when speaking to Renee. I heard about your divorce, by the way. Congratulations. You should have ditched that asshole a long time ago. I'm not sure if you know this, but while you were being Mrs. Punchbag, Rumors about you started spreading everywhere. If those old geezers knew that you're actually the ultimate boss they were looking for all this while, they'd flip their shit. So, are we doing something big this time? I can hold that thought. Renee was so annoyed by his constant blabbering that she considered blocking him again. I promise Grandpa that I won't go back to that life anymore. If you really do see me as your boss, you better keep this a secret. It appears that her past was rather interesting. However, she wasn't in the mood to talk about it. I called because I want you to help investigate something. After talking some more with Liam, Renee hung up the phone, only to receive a text message from Stefan. Her heart started racing as she tapped her phone screen ever so lightly. Beach City Courthouse, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Short and simple, as if she didn't deserve any more than that. The butterflies in her stomach dropped dead in an instant. She realized how foolish she had been for expecting more from this man. Okay. Renee replied, matching his energy.